What's up, everybody? I'm JC.
I'm Brittany.
And you're listening to
Just Breathing Home Edition.
Boom! Got it. Got it. To talk tonight about marriage, and just to show the level of communication in our marriage, we decided that we were talking about marriage now. So, success. But you know what? We got through that decision without any bickering or arguing or I had like a topic in mind just in case we didn't, you didn't have one in mind. And then you're like, well, I thought maybe we'd talk about marriage. And I'm like, okay.
What was your other
and that's
topic?
how you have a successful marriage. We're done.
Just say yes to me.
Yeah.
That's not actually
That's a longer conversation. Yeah. For the sake of this podcast and my life, I'll say yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, what do you want to talk about in terms of marriage? What was kind of on your mind when you thought of that topic?
Well, I didn't really have any questions in mind, but I guess
I don't mean questions, but like, what things did you think of?
So, I guess marriage has been on my mind just because, I think of so many people nowadays, even that I know, who like struggle in their marriage or just our culture in general. Like, I feel like we have a lot of people who, I don't know, marriage is just hard.
Yeah.
And because it is hard. And so I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun to talk about that and get people's thoughts. And yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's going to be mostly our thoughts.
That's true.
For the sake of this podcast. True. This isn't live.
But people can comment.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So going off of what you said, you've given me so much. The leash is so long in which to run. I just don't know which direction. What is that sound? Do you hear that?
I do hear that. I think it's our heater.
Oh, is that our heater? Goodness, that's like freaky.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Sounds like something's about to break.
Yeah, and then it stops because of the water.
Oh, okay. And this is Home Edition.
Yeah.
Weird home sounds that still are new after living in this house for 6 years. It's crazy. All right, so that was just a way to stall. And so I could think about.
Sorry.
No. I wanna start this conversation in a way that actually gets us into something that is productive for people, but also for us.
Right.
So that's why I'm trying to kind of go through our marriage and kind of see where we could start. But
I know where we can start.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
Okay, so in our marriage, I'll just start with that.
Yeah.
Like having a conversation, like especially when we were first like getting to know each other, was like not easy because of one person, myself. And I won't put the blame on you.
Keep going, but I want to talk about that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, why are conversations hard in marriage when you like even still now, like sometimes having a real conversation is hard. Not all the time, but like I wonder why that is. Like I haven't really, like it just came to mind as we were talking.
Yeah.
So I haven't thought about it. But like why is that? Like it should be the easiest with you.
Right.
But it tends not to be.
Yeah.
And I think maybe part of that, now that I'm just talking out loud, I'm thinking of things, but like maybe part of that is because like I care about your opinion so much more than anyone else is that it's harder to have like a very honest conversation with you, because I want to be totally open with you, but at the same time, like, I don't want to be hurt, even though I know if you would say something hurtful, you wouldn't mean it. But
the closer the people are, the more that they can hurt you.
Right. So it's like
the deeper the cut.
It's hard. This hard, like, you desire to be open, but you also like are nervous that you still might be like rejected because you know how weird or whatever you are, and you're like, is that going to be too much for that other person?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, it is difficult. I feel like we kind of cracked some of that difficulty before marriage, which I would highly recommend for everybody. Yeah. If you can't communicate before marriage effectively, wait.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait. I don't usually say wait for marriage. Like some people wait like 10 years to get married, and I think you're a flake. Like, get
That's
married.
a long time.
Yeah, it's too long. But because if you're not getting to know that person in 10 years, you shouldn't be getting married in the first place. Like, you don't get it. Yeah. You don't understand this whole life partner thing. Like, marriage is not your thing. I mean, it's
at least not right now, or with
at
that
least
person.
Not right now. But if you are planning on getting married and you see that you're not communicating effectively, if you see that there are just walls being built up on either side, and you see that you kind of get so far in conversations but never are able to kind of really break into open and honest and authentic conversations where you're really sharing your hearts and both parties are feeling satisfied with the result of that conversation. You know, I'm not saying there's not going to be compromise in marriage. I'm not saying there's not going to be, compromise is a really good one, because, and this kind of goes back to why is it so hard to communicate in marriage? And it's funny because Pat and I just talked about this.
Oh, did you really?
When we recorded the podcast. Oh, so, it's funny that it's coming back up now. I don't know if I want you to listen to that or not. I think it was all good things. It was all good things.
Now I'm going to listen.
No, but
now I'm going to dissect it.
He is more like me in terms of how he communicates.
Yeah.
We both process out loud, and then both of our wives take it seriously, and it's difficult to kind of like, we are very open with our processing.
Yeah.
We just say it, what we're thinking, and then we expect, like, if you were just a part of my mind, you would answer that openness with just other openness. But that doesn't happen because...
but it's getting better. Sorry.
It is getting better. But first, you don't communicate in that way.
No.
You communicate in a much different way. You communicate in a way that is much more introspective. It's much more thoughtful. Like, it takes time for you to process what's being presented, and then for you to actually know exactly what your thoughts are on whatever it is. So, I mean, it's an interesting thing because both are right. I don't see a negative to either side. You know,
I think the positive thing, even as you're saying that, is like, we did not know that about each other even 5 years ago.
Right.
Or at least I didn't know about
going into marriage, though.
Oh, we knew. Yeah. Well, we knew each other enough going into marriage. But what I'm saying is, we didn't understand, like, I didn't understand your process of communicating until like probably like 3 years or 4 years into marriage was when I finally, like, I understood what you just explained there, that like you process things out loud. Like, when you would process things out loud,
You thought I was just stating fact.
I thought you were telling me this is what I'm going to do. This is this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And I was like, in my head, because I don't process out loud, I'm like, no, I'm not okay with that. Like, that's terrifying to me. And all of these thoughts. And then, but I wouldn't talk to you about it because I thought you already had made up your mind. And that's just, I don't even know. So this is the other thing that I wanted to point out. You presented how I think through things very well. That's exactly how I think through things. And because of that, the one thing that maybe you left out was I don't know what I feel or think sometimes for like a little bit. Because when I get like,
that's just a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you might say a lot of things.
That's what I meant about just being thoughtful. Like you have to receive something, kind of go away and sort of examine it within yourself for a little bit and kind of say, what am I thinking on this? What am I feeling on this? What things do I know to be true in regards to this?
Right.
Like you have to kind of really pull from a lot of places in yourself to respond to stuff.
Right.
And I think that's really good. Like you're not comfortable with just giving out advice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when me, I don't know if it's the best thing for somebody, but I know it's better than maybe what they're doing currently. Right. So I'm just like, there you go. You're welcome.
You just because you think faster than me too. Like I think you're able to process like, and none of this is like good or bad, but it's just it's good to know
and that's what I don't want to kind of put forward is, oh, you think faster, that means you're smarter. It's no. Just a different way of.
I think it's just good to note. Like processing. I'm glad we both know that now. Yeah. Like I think it's good to know that about your husband or your wife to understand how they process. Right. Like that's why they're not responding right away because for me, she has to think about it.
Right.
And for you might respond right away but it doesn't mean that like that's exactly what you think always. Right. When you respond, like I have to take what you say and be like, that's just his thoughts right now. Like that's not his final final say.
Yeah. And it's so interesting too, because like going all the way back to when we first started communicating, like when we first started dating, we first started actually having some deeper conversations. That was a whole nother process to get to where we're at even now.
Yeah.
I mean, so communication is a relational staged process. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it comes in stages and you have to be aware of that and compassionate enough and patient enough to last, to ever see the actual flourishing of that communication.
Yeah.
So I think we're, like you said, we're in stage 2 or 3 of like a 10-step process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we still fall back. I mean, when we got married, I was 22. Mm-hmm. So I had 22 years of being an only child and communicating in one way.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe little differences here and there with friends and parents and family members and things like that. But like on a deep level, I process the way I process.
Right.
I didn't have to live with somebody.
Right.
In the way I do now. Like I don't have to make life decisions. I don't have to raise children. I don't have to maintain a house, the way that I did back then. Yeah. So it's a huge adjustment. And I don't know, what were you kind of, because it is interesting to think back, like, what do you think was like the thing that sort of got you over the initial hump when we first started trying to get a little deeper in communication?
When we were dating or after we were married?
Dating.
Oh goodness. I don't know if I actually remember how I did that. Like I remember how I got over the second bump, but not the first one.
I mean, was it like repetition? Like
Well-
us just kind of coming back to things?
Yeah, I think
over
it
and
was
over again?
just you pushing for me to like open up, really. That's what it was. Because
Yeah.
for me, I had a great childhood. Like nothing happened to me that made me this way, so I don't want anyone to think that. But like for whatever reason, I had just gone into myself, like, or in high school, and no, I didn't really let anyone in. Like even my best friends didn't know what was going on in my heart and mind, and I liked it that way. Was not healthy. Don't recommend that to anyone. But so it was only you were the first person. Like it was at that time in my life that I was healing. Like God was kind of helping me get out of
Right.
just my own head, and you helped with that too, and you kind of pushed me.
I caught her in this emotional state. You know, she was really going through this difficult time of healing, and I'm like, "What's up?" Just kidding.
No, it was good. So I think it was really you who helped me get over that initial bump. Yeah. Because I mean, to be quite honest, like I don't think this is everyone's story, but like I didn't know, like didn't know like what I was thinking all the time. Like I had already like the way you keep yourself safe, is you just have your thoughts that are out here for everyone to see and for you to tell them, and then you have the thoughts behind those that are yours.
And we don't investigate those too
and
often.
I don't investigate those because they're too
Wow.
much. So I just stick with the ones on the outside that I tell people. So that's where I was then.
Mm.
So you were pushing past the outside
Yeah.
ones for the inside one, and I was like, whoa, I don't know what those are. So anyway, that was the first bump.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. What did you think?
Well, first, I just want to kind of say to people that are listening, I don't want people to get the wrong impression about the way that I pushed you.
Oh yeah.
Because I think, well, I don't even care if people get the wrong impression. That's not my worry. I want people to know why I did it,
Yeah.
because I think it was for reasons that kind of showed me that I knew very early on that I wanted to marry you, you know? So like, I knew that I wanted a person that I could communicate openly with.
Yeah.
You know, so I knew that it was best for your life.
Yeah.
And that's really how you know someone actually loves you. Like, and this is why I'm trying to kind of point out this point. That's the same exact word, point out this point. But I've seen a lot of people try and make people into things.
Mm.
And that's not what I was doing there. I wasn't just trying to make you be more open as a person.
Right.
Like that's, I don't like that.
Right.
If that's not actually you, if you're more of just an introverted person, like I don't think that's love.
Right.
But I knew from talking to you that that's what was best for your life. And that was going to be best for our marriage.
Right.
So like that was important to me because I loved you.
Yeah.
To make sure that it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun to like just keep bringing up conversations and saying like, well, why don't you know the answer to this?
Right.
Why don't you? And
That's a good example of you pushing. You weren't forceful in any way. You were just like, you would, that's how you did it. You brought things up. Like you wouldn't let me just be like, no, I'm not going to give you an answer.
And usually, and it's so interesting because you've never kind of talked about the fact that you had sort of this, I mean, I saw it, but you never talked about the fact that you kind of had the thoughts that you just sort of presented to everyone around you.
Right.
And then you actually had your internal thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's what I was poking at.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I'm definitely more open and more direct as a person, but at the same time, I'm actually I think this probably is a balance that comes from being an only child, is I'm also very introspective. I'm constantly thinking. I'm constantly internal,
Right.
thinking through conversations, thinking through situations, thinking through
Yeah.
scenarios. You know, I'm constantly going through stuff in my head. And I think when I have an opportunity to talk to somebody, I think I'm very just open because I just need to.
You need to let it out.
I need to get it out. I need to talk, man. I've got all these thoughts and I need to get it out. Yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
So I knew I needed that for someone that I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Like, I
Yeah.
knew I needed someone who was going to be not only open back with me so that we could have a conversation, but I needed somebody that was also, what was I gonna? I lost it. Like, going in that direction too.
Yeah.
You know, that was like good with that kind of process.
That makes sense.
So what was the second stage then? So that was kind of the first stage, just kind of breaking down that wall of and actually letting your own thoughts come out, letting yourself
Right.
come out,
Mhm.
and be on display. Now that took a while.
Yeah.
I mean, that I would say took several years into our marriage.
Yeah, that took a long time for me to just break my own habits and get better.
And maybe, I mean, it definitely would come out more with us.
Right.
But I just mean, like, you are starting to right now live that out outside of our home.
Right.
You know, you're starting to live that out in some of the things you're a part of. You're starting to live that out, you know, at church, or you're starting to live that out with your friends
Right.
a little more.
Right.
And I see that.
Yeah.
Like, I see the difference, and I hope they see it too.
Yeah.
You know, especially the friends that you had in high school.
Yeah.
Hopefully they kind of see the difference, and there's just a boldness now about you that I think was always there because you're a stubborn person. So stubborn people are usually bold people,
That's so funny.
but it's coming out now,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So I would say the second hump was, and I feel like most people actually come to this, almost anyone who's in a marriage, but like we came to a point where we didn't, or at least I didn't understand your way of processing your thoughts, which is what we just talked about in the beginning. And so, so that was the second bump for me. And I got to a point where, like what you were saying was like super fearful, like made me fearful, not just because like it was just your thoughts and they were like, you know, they were just scary to me. I was like, oh boy, like, I don't want you to do that, or, you know, just your thoughts. And, but I was like, got to a point where I was like, this is not good for you. This is not good for me. So I really started praying about it. And then I picked up this like one book. I think it's called like Finding the Hero in Your Husband, which sounds like awful. Like I didn't think good of you. That's not it. I actually found it because of what it talked about, things like how to, I don't know. I'm not going to go into the book. It's a good book though, but it helped me understand that I was reacting in fear to you, which I was, but I wasn't like, and I wasn't solving the problem. Like I wasn't supporting you in any way.
Right.
I was just hearing you speak, running away in my own head and being scared, and then never talking to you about it. And I was like, this is not good at all. And you don't know I'm doing that because I'm not telling you I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So it was after that I feel like the Lord really helped me just grow and be like, communicate with you more. And then you would communicate with me more. And then we could actually like figure out, you know, what we both were thinking.
Yeah.
And that was just me taking the step of just talking about it more and not freaking out. Like, yeah.
Right. And that was a conscious
trusting that you love me,
right,
and I love you. Like, you're not going to do something that like you want to hear what I have to say. And so we worked it out. Yeah. And so then I was able to learn more your process of like just thinking, and we were able to think together.
Well, one of the cool things is you have really slowed me down in a good way, in the way that I communicate with people. You know, you've kind of helped me understand that some people need a day, and that's okay.
Right.
Like, you've helped me know when to stop a conversation, which I don't like to do. I like to get it done, you know, get to the heart of it. Let's fix this. Let's figure it out. All that type of stuff. So you've you've helped me know that I can give it a day and come back to it,
Yeah.
and that's better for us.
Right.
It's better for you, but it's ultimately better for us,
Yeah.
and that's part of marriage. You have to kind of lay down gauntlets sometimes and just
Yes.
make sure that you're thinking about the other person in every decision and every conversation and everything that you do, or you're going to be trampling each other.
Yes. Yeah.
And then both people are going to feel like they're just being, trampled by the other. They're just being walked on. So that's definitely something that I've learned. Also, it's funny because of my personality, like I've also had to, I just found it kind of comical when like you'll figure something like that out, and then you'll just all out of the blue start kind of implementing it and trying it out and coming to me and trying to have conversations in new ways, and it's awesome. And it's funny because I've had to actually figure out that you're doing these things. Because not to like be like, oh, she's trying a new technique again. No, but it's cool, but it's so like normal to me to just like for you to come and talk to me.
Okay.
And then I just have and then I just talk to you.
Like it feels normal now, or it just felt normal?
No, it always felt normal.
Oh.
To you, it was a big deal. To you, you're like,
yeah.
Oh man, I hope this goes well. And then, I guess what I'm trying to say is I've had to learn to make time to really give you that time to talk whenever the opportunity sort of arises, because I know that it's a growth point for you to engage in that. Whereas me, I'm just like, why are we talking right now? Like, because it's just, if I have something in my head, I've already talked to you about it.
Right.
Maybe you haven't talked back to me about it, but I got it out.
That's funny.
Yeah. But okay, so that was, we got through phase 1, we got through phase 2. And then once we got married, communication.
Phase 2 already happened when we were married.
What?
Phase 2 happened when we were married.
Yeah. Well, okay. I see what you're saying. But into marriage then, I don't know when. After that, it was just kind of a gradual
getting better.
Yeah. And we've just kind of been getting better at it every day.
Yeah. I liked what you said about putting down the gauntlet. At least I think this is what you meant. But I think that's been a big...
I don't know if that's the right analogy. I'm pretty sure you threw your gauntlet down if you wanted to fight somebody.
Oh, okay.
So probably a terrible analogy. But it sounded good. I meant like laying down your arms.
Yes.
Now
I want to know what that means. Isn't the gauntlet the thing you run through?
No. Well, it is.
Oh, okay.
It is. But a gauntlet was like your hand armor.
Oh, okay. Anyway, putting down your arms, we'll use that instead.
Yeah, we'll put that one down.
I think that is super helpful to conversation. I think that helps you grow at any stage that you're in, because I think just like having, like you were saying, having grace for the other person, first of all, like they don't, like sometimes for me at least, like it's easy for me to get offended, even though I say a lot that I'm not easily offended, but like if you will say something in a way that I think that like is not like you don't care or whatever weird thing I have in my head, I always know, like I always have to go back to like, I know that you love me because I can see it, just the way that like you're still married to me, you care for me, you like, provide for me. So I just have to say like, he didn't, like, I know you didn't mean to do that. I'll say that in my head and I'll just be like, it's like, I forgive him. It's fine. He didn't mean to, this is all in my head. So that's what I mean by like giving them grace. Cause I think sometimes we easily like get angry sometimes at our spouse or annoyed at them for like a stupid reason that isn't their fault. It's your own fault. It's like in your own head. And so just giving them grace for that. And then like the other thing you said is trying to understand like where they're coming from too. And just like understanding them and the way they communicate.
Yeah.
And then just going from there and not taking everything so like personal.
Yeah.
I don't know. That for me, I feel like that's super helpful in conversation for someone who's as emotional as me. Maybe for a guy, they're like, what is she talking about? But
no, I think I think all of those things are things that we all think through as we're communicating, but I think you are just more aware of what you're actually bringing to the table during the conversation. You're like, all right, now's the time to extend grace. Now's the time to be patient with him. Hear him out. Ask questions.
No.
Don't freak out. You know.
No, I don't think I'm not that bad. It's after a conversation where if I feel like upset afterwards, then that's when I go through that process. Then I'm like, why do I feel this way? Like, what happened that I feel this way?
Yeah.
Like we weren't mad at each other when we end the conversation. Why do I feel this way? And then I just have to figure out.
Yeah.
I just got to figure that out. But
You got to go to bed. You got to wait till my eyes are
I do
closing.
not talk to you that late anymore. I stopped doing that.
Almost asleep. And hey, John.
Stop
Hey,
it.
JC.
I don't do that anymore.
No, you don't do it.
Well,
You don't do it much.
I don't do it much.
You don't do it much.
If I do it, then that means it's something I really have to talk about right then, I guess.
That used to be Brittany's MO. FYI. She would wait till like literally I was falling asleep. Like REM sleep was like coming. And then she'd be like, "Are you awake?"
Oh my goodness. I know that I'm not the only person who does that or did that.
It's just funny because
I don't do it though. I don't do it.
No. And this is the growth part. Like you, for some reason, like late at night, you would like worked up the courage to like speak your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always fine. It was always like not actually. Usually I was just like, okay.
Can I go to bed now?
Yeah, I mean, but it was like for you, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's good. You know, you had to go through those times where you woke me up and you just needed to get assurance from me. When you said this, was this what you meant? No. Okay. Let's go to sleep. You know, like,
yeah.
And that's okay. And as a husband or a wife that is dealing with somebody of this personality, you need to extend grace.
Yeah.
You know, you need to say they're growing. You need to say, and make sure you don't harbor any type of negative thoughts about that growth.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a really important thing to growing in communication is to not harbor any thoughts, any prideful thoughts, like, oh gosh, I wish she could just communicate as good as me.
Yeah.
That's why I really wanted to kind of like push back against the, oh, he thinks faster.
Right.
It's like, I might have thought that in the beginning and be like, why can't you just keep up?
Right.
But as I've grown, I've seen the benefits of your personality and the way that you communicate. Now, there's definitely negative things that we have to attack as a couple.
Right.
You have to attack certain ways that I would communicate that you're like, that's not very loving.
Right.
That's not nice. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And then I would have to say, okay, I won't do that anymore.
Right.
I'll try not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And then work that out of my life. And then there was things that was unhealthy for you to either not communicate in or to, you know, struggle to put into words or whatever it was.
Right.
And then we worked on that to get those negative elements out.
Yeah.
But once they're gone, then you just see
you just have the positives of both sides.
of both sides of communicating.
Yeah.
And then so if you're growing in a healthy marriage, and we've only done this for, you know, going on 8 years.
9 years.
Well, this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
End of the year.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But 9 years is still like
Not that much.
nothing
Yeah.
compared to people that have been going through it forever. And you know what? I know so many people that have never learned to communicate. I mean, think about it.
Sad.
Think about like grandparents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about the way they communicate.
Well, this is here. Okay, so this is something to talk about.
Yeah.
What's up with this? Like, you see some couples where like they're older and like they just love each other to death and they communicate really well. And then you
Yeah.
have other couples where you knew that they had times where they communicated really well and like it was really good. But then as they get older, like they just bicker more. Like, is that
Yeah.
just because they know each other so well that that's just
I
fine?
think so.
Or like, cause you're like,
I think so, but I don't think it's fine.
I don't think it's fine. I'm like, I don't want to be like that.
No.
I don't.
I don't think you have to be. I really don't. I think it's two things. And this is pure speculation, but like I think there was what I just talked about with some harbored pride that once you know that person so well and you just nitpick at their buttons all day long because you know every single one because
Yeah.
you've lived with them for
Yeah.
50 years. You know, like I think there's some of that.
That's a really good point. That's probably
Um,
true.
I mean, I always wonder if like some people just kind of keep their mouth shut and get through marriage.
Oh, until the end.
And then at the end, they just are like, all those years that you just, I mean,
Yeah.
you've seen those old people
Yeah,
walking down the road, just like, that's harbored stuff, man.
That's true,
They
that's
should have
true.
let that out a long time
Yeah.
ago. So that's what I think it is. I think it's pent up stuff that like pride or just resentment or it could be a whole host of things that you've just kind of kept inside and haven't really
Yeah.
talked it out with your spouse.
Yeah.
It just leads to that type of deterioration. I think it'll eat you alive.
Right.
Number one.
Right.
So you'll just become a worse person for
Yeah.
it. So I mean that could
And
be
it's
a factor.
hard. It's harder to let go once you've let it build up to that point.
Yeah.
Like if you just let things go right away and just forgive people right away, forgive your spouse immediately, it's a lot easier. At least I would think.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what other factors might play into that.
Yeah.
But I do. I've seen that. Some of it's the times. You know, I don't really know too much about the generation before my grandparents.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how their parents
Yeah.
acted.
That's a good point.
So I mean, we always tried to not be our parents.
Yeah.
We might grow a little bit from that,
Yeah.
but every generation hopes that their kids will be better
Yeah.
than them.
Yeah.
I hope that my kids are going to be better than me
Yeah.
already.
Yes. Yes.
So I don't know. I don't know what my grandparents' parents were like.
Right.
That kind of extends to the way that they communicate.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I mean, my grandparents have been okay. I hear horror stories, about, the way that parents or grandparents would just like yell at each other all the time and just, constantly be jabbing. And
Yeah.
I didn't really get too much of that.
Mm-mm.
Little stuff,
Yeah.
but it was like mostly jest.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I've never
mostly
seen your
jest.
grandparents do that.
No. So, I mean, I got lucky in that regard that I got to see decent marriages
Yeah.
with my grandparents. My parents' marriage was good.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that definitely is a factors in good communication if your parents communicated good. Yeah.
I think I don't want to be like a downer for people that didn't have that
Right. Right.
because I think you
I think
definitely,
you can. Yeah. You can.
I think you
overcome
definitely grow, and I think you can definitely learn from books. I think you learn from listening to other people, getting
Right.
together with people maybe that are further along in
it.
marriages
Mhm.
than you, and that look healthy and look like oh, I could learn from them,
Right.
but it is a setback.
Yeah.
100% it's a setback.
Yeah.
And that stinks.
Learning to identify the unhealthy patterns though is beneficial. Like if you had unhealthy examples to be able to kind of identify, like, am I falling into that? Because if I am, like, I need to find a better way,
Yeah, it's a long road though.
Yeah.
I mean, because
it seems normal.
It's normal. It's habit. You really have to, either be someone who's just very perceptive to that type of stuff, and just, you have to almost grow up knowing I'm not going to do that, or growing up knowing I'm not going to do that. But honestly, you're going to be stupid growing up.
Yeah.
Because we're stupid.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you're going to go through high school and you're going to be an idiot. And you're going to go into college and be a little more of an idiot, but trying to get somewhere in life.
Yeah.
You're going to get in the workspace, and maybe you'll start to be like, oh, I got to get control of this life.
Yeah.
I got to grab onto the reins and actually, like, figure stuff out.
Yeah.
As you look for a spouse,
Yeah.
So it's a hard road, but like I said, it's not impossible. And like you said, there could be great benefits to it. You could have such a deeper, not understanding, but a deeper level that you could kind of go to in your communication because of you not having it.
Mhm.
There could just be like this innocence to you just really working on it for the first time and exploring it. And, just that's really why you have to have a good spouse and partner that you can actually
do that with,
and that will go on that journey with you. If you're in that place. That's possible. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know what other aspects
of marriage,
or just communication in general. I feel like that's what we're kind of on right now. I think that's the most important part.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, literally, I can't think of another thing in marriage, without delving into like parenting and delving into like just more superficial and kind of different path conversations that we could have on marriage, that play into a marriage. I think communication is number one.
Yeah.
And that's said all the time.
Yeah, it is. It is. But now that we're married and we're having this conversation right now it seems like I understand it. Like I get it now.
Yeah.
Like I understand why they say that so much.
I mean, I think you've gotten it.
No, I mean, I've gotten it, but I'm just like, yeah, it really is. I guess it really is like one of the most important parts.
It's it.
Yeah.
It's it. Because if you don't have it, man.
Yeah.
I see in the times that I haven't communicated well how angry you could get, internally.
Yeah.
And just the how quickly your mind can start to twist and just go to these thoughts against your spouse, these thoughts about your spouse that aren't true.
Yeah.
Because you haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
But it's so easy for like just one word or one phrase or one conversation to just get you into this state so quickly where you're just like, I think she hates me. Well, all right, that jerk. No, I mean, it's just,
it is very easy. I feel like that's,
and we don't fall into that too quickly because by this time in our marriage, we're fairly quick to go have that conversation once we already sense
Yeah.
that's
I
in
think-
play.
yeah, I
like
think
we can
that's
kind of
the
sense
key.
that with each other and be like, oh crap, I think I said something.
Yeah.
Because she just walked away. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I know what I did. That's another learning curve. Knowing when you went too far
Yeah.
and caring that you went too far,
Yeah.
even if you don't understand why you went too far.
That's true.
That is huge. Huge.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't matter because once you ask, what did I do wrong? What I
Mhm.
say, you know, and you have that conversation,
Mhm.
sometimes she finds out that she's wrong and then it's all good. And then you were right. So just
It's true. It's so true.
give the space to not
Attack.
ask the why. Yeah, to not attack and not ask why until you have the conversation. Stop trying to understand because you may be right.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Yeah, just giving that time to, I guess, that grace to figure out what's going on and to have talk some more about whatever it is you're feeling.
Yeah. I mean, that's the epitome of grace. Grace is something that we don't really talk about because it's kind of religious.
Mhm.
But like grace just means that you're giving somebody something that they hadn't earned.
Right.
I think we all are in need of grace
Oh yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, we all are freaking jerks sometimes. And like we don't even
If you're-
want to be.
Yeah.
It just it happens.
It happens.
It happens. We're not feeling good. We didn't have a good day at work. You know, the kids are nutcases and we just want to be a little bit of a jerk.
Right. Right.
And it's those days that you get into those ruts with your spouse.
Right.
So if we just know that those days are going to come and we prepare our response to that
Mm-hmm.
now before it happens,
Right.
that's going to go a long way. Like if you can just say, okay, when they respond like a jerk, I'm going to extend grace.
Yes. Yes.
And vice versa. And I think that'll help.
Yeah. As you're saying that, that's like, so when you extend grace, sometimes it's just like that.
Yeah.
And it's just easy, I guess I want to say. Like, just give it and be done. Like, it's fine. You're fine. They're fine.
Yeah.
Give it and be done. It's like the times where you have a further conversation is when you've given grace but you just can't, like, it's just something that's still bothering you. Then that's when you like go and talk. Like, I don't want people to think that you talk about it every time you extend grace. Like, that would be kind of ridiculous. But like
No.
when something's bothering you still and you have to work something out, then that's when you have a further conversation. But yeah, if you prepare ahead of time to just forgive people when they're having a bad day and just be like, it's not a big deal,
Mhm.
then that just makes your life a lot easier. And you don't have like you're not harboring stuff in your heart.
Yeah, you're
Then-
not thinking like, is this about me?
Right.
You know, because that's usually our first response. You
Mhm.
know, what did I do? Is it about me?
Right.
It's always about me. No, but I think this is good. Let's wrap it up here. We'll come back to the marriage topic. Let's think of we'll think of another angle
Sounds good.
to talk about and kind of share more of our experiences. But yeah, just know anybody that's listening to this, communication is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And communication is long game. Communication, like if you actually want to communicate with somebody, don't wonder why it's not happening on the second date. Like
Wow. Yeah.
our second date.
Was my first date.
Oh yeah. That's another story.
Uh,
Didn't even know I was taking her out on a date. Paid for it.
I offered to pay.
Oh gosh.
I love you.
Talk about knives in the heart. Ugh.
Now I know.
No. All right, guys. Those watching on YouTube, make sure you like this, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way, when we put up another home edition and keep this conversation going, you know when those videos are up. And those listening to this, thank you. Make sure that you subscribe or follow us on Spotify. And we will be back on the next home edition. All right, guys. Love you all. Bye.
So you gotta smash like, subscribe, click the links down below so I make a time. Comment, say hi, hit the bell so I know I'll see you next time. Next time, next time. So I know I'll see you next time, next time.